Warning, the following video contains MLP-related content. It also contains at least one or more of the following: cursing, violence, immature jokes, funny reactions, or verbal, not safe for work content. If you do not wish to view anything that may contain any of these, please immediately go to your previous page. Otherwise, stick around and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, Brony here, and I am back for another reaction! And this time around, we're going to be taking a look at a very long video, or series of videos to say. First off, this is from Viva Riveri, and, well, we're going to be taking a look at something called, Who Killed Santa? And it's a, animation that's based off of the Danganronpa game series. But I think he called it, like, what is it? Trigger Happy Horses? So, yeah. Originally, this was a 4-part animation thing, which, by the way, I had meant to react to this thing, like, well over a year ago. Completely lost it. Like, I actually had the videos, lost them. Like, I must have accidentally deleted them or something. And then I found the video again, like, an hour ago. And I'm like, oh, right, I wanted to watch this! But they're actually 4 separate episodes. But what I did was, I actually got them mashed together. And I'm just gonna be chopping out the, like, credits in between each one. So it's gonna basically play all of them in a row without me having to stop or nothing like that. So it's gonna be one long reaction. So with all these clips combined and everything like that, it's actually just a hair under an hour long. So if you guys are planning to watch this entire thing all the way through, buckle up, grab a drink, grab a snack, and get comfy, because we're going to be here for a while. But yeah, long and short, this is a parody based off the Danganronpa games, which, aside from the fact that they make the blood in there pink instead of red, it's basically an M-rated game, at least in my opinion. So chances are this might be a dark side reaction, depending on how violent it may get here. Maybe it's more comical, we'll see. I have no idea. But otherwise, just know that my camera is going to be probably on the top corner instead of the bottom, because in those games, there's text is at the bottom, and I don't want it being in the way. Otherwise, that should be it, so let's go ahead and jump in and finally see what happens. In 3, 2, 1, go! There's that music. Court is now in session! Oh wow, we're going right in.
Righto, let's start with a quick explanation of the class trial.
Righto!
Today we'll be looking at the murder of Santa Claus, big red fluffy happy man, whacked with a fatal blow to the back of his head. The murderer was one of you lot, and yeah, you gotta figure out who it was.
Thanks,
if the killer gets found out, they lose, and get executed. If the killer gets away with it, they win, and everybody else gets executed instead.
Why is it we gotta do it with this convoluted trial thing?
Well, if you refuse to participate, I'll kill you. Can't have any party poopers around here. Also, the killer would get away, and that would be awfully boring.
Agreed.
The words of being kidnapped by a psychopathic robot.
You have to solve the murder.
Yes, you have to do work. Another one's like smiling, like, I'm so happy to be here.
Well, the best first step is to look at all the facts we've gathered in our investigation.
What the heck? Your name is literally Pumpkin, and it's literally
Santa's
a pumpkin.
body was discovered in the second floor science lab at 12 p.m. The ones who discovered it were John and Jake, who then immediately called the rest of us over.
Actually, it was more John's scream that did that.
Why is Santa's blood pink again?
When was the last time we saw Santa alive?
I saw him at breakfast at 10 a.m. We all saw him at 10, you doof.
I saw him enter the science lab at 11:15, and my magma was with me.
Mamoga? Or my magma?
I am Princess Celestia.
What the
And I
flip?
guess Celestia was with us too.
Wait,
So
what?
therefore we can deduce
Wait,
that
you
the
have
murder
the
happened
toy there
sometime
too?
between the 45-minute gap of 11:15 and 12 p.m.
That's
Okay.
a big gap. Anybody could have walked in that entire time. Nobody has an alibi.
Actually,
So are they
I
thinking
was
that, or are they saying it aloud?
Yes,
I'm assuming they're
Frank
saying it
saw me at
aloud.
home, if I recall. Is that really an alibi, though? What if you're just co-conspirators?
Oh no!
If I was the murderer and got away with it, that would basically be suicide for Pumpkin.
You're just saying that to cover your own ass.
There's never 2 people, each person's to cover, and because nobody
Besides
wants to
that,
die.
there's also the science room door's
Okay.
lock. It was definitely broken
Hey,
while it was
evidence!
already locked, meaning the door was either broken into or broken out of. Why is that important? Because the door
What do you
was
mean?
definitely locked at 11:55. I tried it myself. There was meant to be a meeting in that room with me, Jake, John, and Santa at 12 p.m. So
Everybody wants to have a meeting with Santa Claus.
50 to go there.
Okay.
I arrived 5 minutes early and saw that the door was locked, so I thought the meeting was called off. Yet the door opened fine when I arrived 5 minutes later.
So sometime between those 5 minutes, the murderer must have broken out of the room.
That voice,
Shame,
though.
because if I saw who that was, they'd be dead. Thanks, but we don't need a recap of the history of your strength. Another issue is that the lock was broken internally, unlike traditionally where, you know, you'd hit it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think this is a pretty open and shut case. It was obviously
I love when they do like the bobbing effects.
You
Like,
can't just say that.
You can't tell me I'm the only one that notices how obvious this is. Scott, as the murderer, literally just has to make up whatever he wants and he's off the hook. As the most recent one to show up at the crime scene alone, he's obviously the culprit.
I don't think that's how it always works though, but I don't know. We'll get to the point where we just like basically break their bull crap. Also, yeah, the truth bullets.
Scott's lying.
Scott's lying.
He tried opening the door at 11:55, but he's the one who broke it.
I mean, how do you know?
Kidding? I had no time to have done that.
You had all the time in the world. You left the cafeteria at 11:50. That's 10 full minutes. Santa was killed by a whack from his bionic arm.
Didn't they say it was
There was no
11:55?
more time.
That's 5 minutes.
They were all alone. It was the perfect crime.
Okay, so we're gonna be rehearsing through all this and blasting one of them. Oh right, and in this game they make the main player be like the only
says he
one
tried
who has
opening the
like
door at
all the answers
11:55.
basically, and like one or two people who
But
are
he's the
somewhat
one who broke
comparable.
it.
Everyone else is just a bunch of
Are you
idiots.
kidding? I had no time to have done that.
You had all the time in the world. You left the cafeteria at 11:50. That's 10 full minutes. Santa was killed by a whack from his bionic arm. There was no better time.
Fire in the hole!
No, that's wrong.
Objection!
Cash, there's a serious flaw in your argument.
Yeah.
What?
You say that Scott could have killed Santa completely risk-free because they were completely alone.
Yeah, duh.
They were going to have a meeting in that room not 10 minutes later, not just Scott and Santa. But both Jake and John were on their way, and Scott had no way of knowing when they were both going to arrive.
Yeah.
Well, that one's easy. He just made sure to watch both of their movements to make sure they weren't arriving early.
Ow.
That's also impossible. Because Scott was in the cafeteria for at least the past 30 minutes. I saw myself, along with several others. There's no way you could have scouted Jake and John so intently when they weren't even in the same location.
Exactly.
In fact, this proves Scott could not have been the one to do it. He was the only one besides John and Jake that knew there was a meeting scheduled in there at all.
Alright, I guess you got me there.
Yeah, wait, Dave.
Somebody
Back
else
to the
could have
case.
broken that lock. If it wasn't Scott, who was it? Well, not counting Jake, John, Scott, Cash,
Still can't believe that's
myself, and
pronounced
everyone in the
Jake.
cafeteria. That leaves Crass, Mamagma, and Waterhorse.
I cannot confirm my alibi.
So you're saying you
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that even if I told you where I was, you wouldn't believe me.
I was in the water!
For the record, I was sitting by the door to the roof, alone. Alone all day since breakfast until I heard the body discovery announcement at 12, where I came down myself to investigate.
What's up with the body discovery announcement anyways?
The body discovery
only
announcement
plays
plays
with-
over the intercom after 3 people discover a dead body. That way everybody
Oh,
in the school
3.
knows someone died, even people playing
Was there
hooky
2
like
in the
piss
game?
jug here.
I'll have you know that my water has a pH of 7 on the dot.
You're beautiful.
Remember, I thought it was
No,
2.
you're
Maybe I'm
not.
wrong.
Three
It's been a
people
while
see
since I played the
body
game.
before the body discovery announcement.
Yes, first you were John and Jake, then it played when the rest of us from the cafeteria showed up.
That leaves Crass and Mamagma left to state their cases.
We parted ways at around 11:30. I just flew around the gym passing time.
Sorry if I'm a
until the
little
body
quiet on
discovery
this one. I'm
announcement.
really intrigued. This guy is so
Like my
quiet the
father was
entire
probably
time.
alone too.
Wait, who do we suspect then? Crass, duh.
What?
unlike the garbage reasoning.
And no one has said
Crass
anything
had.
about golf
I know for
yet.
sure I'm right. Motive. Crass has a super obvious motive, while the other two couldn't give a rat's tail. I would never. How dare you? Just own up to it. You're the murderer.
Yeah, I remind everybody that there is a Celestia toy amongst this group. Wouldn't pull it past them to make that thing the murderer somehow.
Unlike Mamagma and Water Voice, you're the only one with a motive.
No way! You can't say the other two!
There's a lot
I'm
in this whole
completely out of the
thing. Okay.
picture!
Sir Apathetic and Dr. Mute, yeah, I don't think
Dr.
so.
Mute.
Even besides motive, one's made of glass.
And the other would never get his hooves dirty. So you're the only one who could have broken out of that room.
That's a premature assumption!
Are you sure that's even possible? Within only a 5-minute gap? And nobody besides those three could have even touched that knob. I'm inclined to agree. The rest of us has rock-solid boys.
Spectacular.
Then that settles it.
I like how spectacular is the thing that you can actually try and argue with. That's like encounter this one with a head-on approach. I'll need to think outside the box a little. Are you gonna use one of their statements
You're
against
looking
each other?
to replace Santa, weren't you? Unlike Mamagma and Water Voice, you're the only one with a motive.
No way! You can't say the other two are completely out of the picture!
Sir Apathetic and Dr. Mute, yeah, I don't think so.
Even besides motive, one's made of glass.
And the other would never get his hooves dirty. So you're the only one who could have broken out of that room.
That's a premature assumption!
Guess we're going further
Are you
into this
sure
one.
that's even
Okay.
possible? Within only a 5-minute gap? And nobody besides those three could have even touched.
Okay, so a straight up shot was still breaking. Okay. So they weren't using an argument to break another one, just a regular bullet.
No.
Okay, got it.
There was an opportunity for someone else to break that lock. And I
Break it!
believe the evidence is in Jake and John's testimonies. Huh? But we didn't see anybody else.
Who was it that broke that lock? The Kool-Aid Man. I broke it. Man, is it muscle boy?
Jake, it had to have been you. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
What are you talking about? I still think it was Crass. Yeah, hey, hold on a second. At least hear me out. I was with him the whole time. I didn't see him break the lock. Yes, you were. And yes, you did. Jake, you hold some strength in that arm, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say you're wrong there. And that same arm was the one that opened the door to the science lab at 12 p.m. Jake, is it possible you broke the lock to that door accidentally?
Oh.
What? What?
What?
Seriously?
It wouldn't be the first time. If... What? So it's
What?
a possibility then.
I guess
suppose
whiz.
it is. Well, then a new door has opened up. And
Literally.
It's far more logically sound than someone escaping a locked room. Within a small 5-minute gap they couldn't have even known they had. Bonkers. I still say it was Crass. Just because you've opened up a new possibility.
Why is this
doesn't
one
mean the
so
old one
intent
doesn't
on blaming
exist.
Crass?
No, there's something else that also supports this new theory. Tell them, Reverie.
At least Pumpkinhead has, you know, something to go with.
I
Like,
got it!
they actually have this
That's
stuff
right.
together.
The lock was broken internally in some way other than hitting it. Perhaps by turning the knob too hard?
The card stated the lock could be achieved by...
But it looked like there was a
turning the
crack,
knob
like where
So
the
unless
key
you're
would
saying
go.
Crass chose to
Unless
break
maybe
it
that's just how the
internally
keyhole
instead
was
of just
drawn.
smashing the lock, you'll have to give a pretty good reason why. Maybe he did it to confuse someone? He made it look like Jake broke it to set us off track. Are you saying he not only knew of Jake's history of breaking locks, but also that he was going to be the next one to try opening the door? Fine. I guess maybe Crass wasn't the one who...
Oh,
broke
now
the
he's
lock.
finally giving Crass
Now
some
we're back
slack.
at square one. No leads. Happy now? We wouldn't say no leads. We did figure some stuff out, but we just eliminated every single person as a suspect.
It still blows my mind that the
It's not
mute
possible, right?
hasn't
No,
had
it
like
isn't.
any
I
blame
believe
thrown
we've
to
been
him
looking
at
at this
all.
case wrong from the start. We thought the only way a broken lock makes sense is if the killer used that door as an escape route. But if they didn't, then that door is no longer relevant. But what exactly does that mean? Well, the killer simply used a different escape route.
Like the window.
Or to the wall!
That was open the whole time. No locks, nothing.
Well, well, that brings significance to a piece of evidence I originally thought was irrelevant. A patch of blood was
What?
found on the ground outside that window. We don't know who it belongs to, and I assume there is no way to find
Why
out
would you
using
think
blood
that's irrelevant?
testing.
No, no blood testing is permitted for use to solve this case. And while I'm at it, no hoof printing either. That would make this too easy. Such
Well,
a
yeah, I
poor
guess that
choice.
is true.
Right. Well, with that in mind, chances are it belongs to the killer, who must
Yeah.
have hurt themselves trying to escape the crime scene. I don't get it. If they wanted to escape the crime scene while looking
I don't know why you thought the blood outside was such, you know,
It is not a
it wasn't
well-designed
important.
door.
Of course it
It
is.
has a keyhole on the inside, meaning it can only be locked on the inside.
His freaking voice, I
That's why
swear.
that room was chosen for our meeting. We had design choice aside, keeps intruders out.
Okay.
There is the key to that door anyways. We couldn't find it actually, even after a thorough search.
Maybe they destroyed it or dumped it somewhere far, far
You
away.
destroyed a key.
Under my rule, absolutely nothing may leave the school ground, and I most certainly would not let any school property get damaged.
Yeah, Monokuma
No,
or
the key to
Maestro
the
in this
science lab is
case
still
would not be
intact.
okay with that.
How odd.
Monokuma
I'm focusing on this right now. Did nobody notice we have the answer to who the killer is literally right at our fingertips?
You again with this
Even
like
as a
shady
kid,
blaming.
The killer is the one who injured themselves trying to jump out the window, right? So whoever currently has a wound on their body is the killer. Speak up then. Who here has wounds?
Who has
Hey.
wounds?
Nothing on me.
I mean, no one's gonna admit to it,
I'm
and he's
pleased.
mute.
I'm a princess. Are you a princess too?
Shut up, Celestia.
Let's get on with this then. Even if your body is covered, we're gonna find out eventually. We'll all strip down if we have to. Alright, you made it weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
What was that, Crass? Got something to say?
I might have a bit of a gash under my wing.
Aha,
There we go.
So it was you all along.
No, it's not from what you think. It's from,
Just say what it is. Don't make yourself so
Climbing up,
suspect.
are we? Trying to think up and explain.
I had a sword fight with Santa.
What?
What was that, Crass? Got something to say?
I might have a bit of a gash under my wing.
Aha, so it was you all along.
No, it's not from what you think. It's from,
Oh, clamming up, are we? Trying to think up and explain.
I had a sword fight with Santa.
Bruh. Oh.
Mono a mono, a one-on-one, a fight for the ages. We clashed swords for hours on end, only laying our arms down when one of us finally submitted. He's a tough fighter, I tell ya. His stamina is admirable. This happened yesterday, in the gym, and
He might have gotten a good hit
I
in me.
lost.
What an epic tale.
Epic, if rather confusing.
That's where this cut came from. A sword fight with Sir Kringle. Not
Sir
from jumping out
Kringle.
that window.
Well, Crass. That's your word against ours.
Do you have any
As Santa, the
evidence?
only one besides you who saw this occur, is now dead.
Ugh, not again.
Ah, someone else does Nice. My man. Let's fly to the castle. That's a bullet?
Crass, I assert, you murdered Santa Claus.
Okay.
After beating him down, you locked the door and jumped out of the second floor window.
It's a farce. I'm being framed.
By who? You've got nothing, do you?
This also explains why the window was open when we discovered the crime scene. Of course, jumping from that height would naturally leave you wounded. This injury explains.
Oh gosh, they're gonna use the Let's Fly to the Castle bullet for that line, aren't they?
That injury was from yesterday, I tell you.
It could have been a Pegasus who flew out.
Crass, please, you're the only one in this room with an open wound.
But of course, he is a Pegasus, so, you know, that still doesn't change too much of a fact. Other than the fact that, well, he wouldn't have hurt himself from the fall, but you get my point, I think.
After beating him down, you locked the door.
Basically,
and
Pegasus could have
jumped
flown
out
out there,
the
so
second
there
floor
should not
window.
have been
It's a
much of a
farce. I'm
problem.
being framed.
By who? You've got nothing, do you?
Well,
This also explains why the window was
Alright, get your
open
bullet
when
ready.
they discovered the crime scene. Of course, jumping from that height would naturally.
nope, nope. Oh, okay, we're gonna use Crest's account. Okay, well, that's fine.
No, that's wrong.
Thanks, Crass. If it weren't for you mentioning this in passing, I would have completely forgot.
Forgot what?
What are you talking about?
Flew around the gym, passing time.
Crass, you can fly. He can fly.
You can fly! You can
He can
fly!
fly.
My wings are so pretty.
Thank you, Celestia.
I guess I can, can't I?
Did you freaking really just forget?
Is it unreasonable to say that Crass didn't think of what he'd instinctively do under a circumstance that didn't actually occur? Crass was injured right by his wing, yes. Perhaps he couldn't fly, hence the latter injury. That would make sense, yes. If your
But-
argument wasn't built on the pretense that Crass never got that first injury. So Crass, if he were in that situation, could have easily flown out of the window. He couldn't have taken that fall. Not so fast.
Yep.
Maybe he wasn't lying about the sword fight, but he was lying about not jumping out that window. That wound damaged his ability to fly, meaning he still fell out of that window. My assertion still holds ground.
Holds ground, you say?
He's flying!
A scratch like that means nothing. I'm as fit as a fiddle.
Let's fly to the castle.
Thanks,
You
Celestia.
being able to fly right now is your proof.
If I can fly like this now, I can fly like this earlier today, too.
He did say he flew around the gym. Even if he was lying about that, this here is pretty hard to refute.
How
Agreed.
about that then? Am I off the hook?
If this is your proof, then riddle me this.
Do it.
Whose blood is it on the ground outside the science lab?
I don't freaking know. So we gotta do a little bit more digging.
I got it!
Santa Claus.
Is it possible that maybe it's Santa's blood? He's the only other one of us with blood exposed. How does that work? Santa was killed on the second floor of the building.
Yeah.
Great. It can't
And
be.
if he was
I think
close to
that's
the window
what
and he got
we
hit,
think.
maybe the
Shouldn't
blood
be saying
splattered out the
Santa's
window.
blood can't be on the ground outside. We should be asking, how could Santa's blood be on the ground outside? Well then, smartass, you're the one who brought it up.
Did he get
Spit
killed
it out.
outside and then they carried him inside the building? That's where he really died.
I got it. I think you made
Interesting.
another wrong
I'm
assumption
liking this.
regarding the basis of this
They're
case.
doing a really good job
Santa
with
was not killed in the second floor
replicating how the
science
game
lab.
works.
He was killed outside. Wait, so then his body was moved into the science lab?
Yeah.
That's the only explanation I can think of. But why do that? And more importantly, how does that make any sense?
Because it changes the scene of the crime. It makes you look in the wrong places. And it changes certain testimonies, such as this.
He was already in the science lab. Are you saying he not only moved out of that room, but then was moved back in? Might I remind you that you're spending this time arguing that he wasn't murdered in the science lab?
Perhaps he was let out of the science lab.
I keep forgetting his voice echoes. It's throwing me off.
Maybe Santa
Used
wasn't
to
the
that being
only
a
thing that
thinking.
was moved into the science lab.
What's that supposed to mean?
Good question. What is Santa? A heart. Heart, excuse me. The doll.
Here! Is anybody here wondering why there's a broken doll sitting on the floor of a science lab? I kind of thought it might have been the murder weapon.
I
Bruh.
disagree. Fatal blunt force from that toy would put it in far more disarray.
Well,
That and
what is
also
it
it
doing
probably
there,
wouldn't have
then?
been strong
I
enough to
definitely
do it.
don't remember seeing it in that room before today, so I think it may be integral to what played out here. I think that toy was bait, used to lure Santa outside.
This is actually really
Santa
interesting.
noticed it on the ground outside.
I'm actually glad I'm taking a look at
As a
this.
toy
Even if I'm not
maker,
saying a
it's
whole
likely he
lot.
didn't want to see an
I'm enjoying
abandoned
this.
doll, let alone a broken one. once Santa was brought outside, alone, that's when the killer struck.
Whack!
And what if Santa didn't notice the toy outside the window? Maybe the killer used some kind of sound to grab his attention?
Like dropping the toy from high up. The state of the toy could be explained by a high chord.
Alright, and there you go. That's what I propose must have happened.
Alright, so you have an explanation. But what the hell does that accomplish? All that just sounds like a bunch of fluff leading us in circles. Why would the killer lead Santa out of the science lab just to bring him back in? And why it's such an obscene
Because then it
convoluted
changes
way? We haven't
people's
come up with a
alibis.
solution. We've come up with a conspiracy theory.
Some people with a certain alibi no longer holds water because the scene of the crime is no longer what was originally assumed. But now you gotta go back to what some of the others were saying before and find out which one would no longer hold water in that circumstance. Scott's account might be what we're looking for.
This is insane! If the killer wanted Santa dead, he'll be dead 10 times over. Santa was alone in the science lab. The killer obviously knew Santa was in there. So why didn't they just do it in there?
One thing's for sure, the killer had to have wings. You know, fly Santa back through that window.
Ha! By your logic,
But Santa's heavy, man! I don't think they would have been able to carry him.
Who even knows if flying is involved?
Oh yeah, if they get thrown up there, then that other guy could just yeet him up there.
Please, can someone just contribute with something that actually makes sense?
Maybe you should just get rid of that Celestia toy, because that's definitely not really helping a whole lot right now. Perhaps.
This is insane.
Alright, you're on a track. Let's see if it's the right one.
Dead, he'll be dead 10 times over. Santa was alone in the science lab. The killer obviously knew Santa was in there.
This makes me want to play the games again.
Do it in there.
One thing's for sure, the killer had to have wings. You know, fly Santa back through that window.
Ha! By your logic, Santa might as well have been thrown up there. Who even knows if flying is involved?
Are you kidding me? Really?
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. Flying is not so much fun. This is gonna be so stupid.
Celestia, what an odd comment to make. Viva, what are you doing? You say flying is fun. You of all people. There's only one thing everybody knows about you for sure.
Let's fly to the castle.
You flew. You flew to the castle. I think Viva's lost it.
Whoa.
You flew, and you crashed. This is the one thing I think all of us here can say confidently. And yet here you are, claiming that you think flying is fun. You're trying to set us off track, aren't you?
This is so
Acting like you're just a
stupid.
casual observer making an occasional cute remark, when you were at the heart of this incident all along. Viva, where do I even start? Celestia has an alibi. She was in the cafeteria when... Actually, when exactly did she show up in the cafeteria?
She's also an alicorn, so if she has the ability to fly, she might have the ability to use magic and just teleport in.
I did not take note of her arrival.
I guess I didn't either. It's not
No
like paying
wonder.
attention to who arrived when was at the top of my priorities. Well then, I think we've uncovered a new suspect.
Hey, that's a toy.
You're kidding me! Why are we even spending time debating this? I mean,
This is so
we haven't even
stupid.
addressed the elephant in the room.
That's quite the accusation you've made.
What?
However, I cannot continue to let you speak this way. Staying silent is no longer an option if it means a false accusation is made.
Well then, I think we've uncovered a new suspect.
You're kidding me! Why are we even spending time debating this? I mean, we haven't even addressed the elephant in the room.
That's quite the accusation you've made.
What?
However, I cannot
For those
continue
wondering
to
why
let you
you're
speak
seeing
this
some of these
way.
scenes like
Staying
twice or
silent
whatever,
is no longer
it's
an option
because,
if it
well,
means a false accusation is made.
when combining these clips together, I wasn't aware that these were going to overlap like this, so That's why they
Yes,
repeat a
I
couple
assure
times.
you I was in
It's
the
the beginning
cafeteria at least
overlapping
ever
with the
since
end of the old.
11:15. Wishy-washy testimony is unacceptable in a dire situation such as this. Your dull bait theory is full of holes and is only supported by circumstantial evidence. I shall assert a far more logical conclusion.
Okay.
I concur that Santa was lured out of the science lab. However, he was lured not to the ground, but the roof. The doll is the murder weapon. An impact was used not to kill, but to topple him over the edge. This not only contextualizes the doll in relation to the murder, but gives a far more logical explanation for the origin of the doll's damage.
And then that would put
More
suspect
than
on the
flimsy
water
argument
pony.
you provided. The culprit then moved Santa to the science lab, whether it be by foot or by flight. The hallway connecting the outside and the
the
science
water
lab
pony
was never monitored,
Pegasus?
as is conclusive from our collective testimonies. This now expands the number of possible suspects to a far greater number. Everybody who was ever alone during the 45-minute gap of 11:15 and 12 o'clock. I cannot be one of these suspects, as I have no reliable way to wield and use the doll to attack the victim.
Interesting.
I welcome you to battle my logic.
Interesting. Okay, it looks like Water Pony is not a Pegasus. Okay. But still, they were on the roof. They said so
I
earlier.
cannot be the culprit.
I'm having trouble believing it myself.
That this thing can
By
talk
use of sound in the open window,
properly.
Santa Claus was lured to the building's roof.
Santa wouldn't be lured by something so stupid.
How would he know that it's coming
The
from the
culprit
roof,
used the
though?
doll to hit Santa. Causing
Like,
him
you hear
to
a
fall
sound,
off
you
the
don't
roof.
know that it's gonna come from the roof right
What an
away.
idiot, jeez.
After this, it is a simple matter of bringing Santa to the science lab, locking the room up, and fleeing the crime scene via the window.
I guess that explanation does account for everything.
Yeah, I agree, that is a lot of new information to kind of digest there.
I cannot be the
I guess
culprit.
you gotta start trying to poke a hole
I'm
and see
having
what we can
trouble
find.
believing it myself.
By use of sound in the open window, Santa Claus was moved to the building's roof.
So, Water Pony can confirm whether or not Santa Claus is up there. And we'll see where it goes from
It
there.
looks like luck was on our side today. Throughout the day, completely unbeknownst to them, we had a sentry standing guard.
We had a sentry turret. Water
Horse,
Pony.
you were standing next to the only door to the roof all day, correct?
I prefer horse of water, but yes.
And you
Horse
also
of
didn't
water.
see anybody there all day, correct?
Yes. Oh, duh. I see what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Santa couldn't be brought to the roof of the building, at least not by foot, because anybody passing by would be spotted by Water Horse.
That testimony is inadmissible. Water Horse is a suspect.
Your face is inadmissible.
Him standing by the roof was simply a fib he told, to give an explanation regarding where he was all day.
I don't enjoy telling lies. How dare you?
If it was a fib, it's an incredibly risky one. If anybody just so happened to pass by the roof, his lie would be immediately exposed. If he really wanted to explain away his absence, any of the other nondescript classrooms would have been a far better cover.
Okay, what
We
exactly
got a little
does this
quiet.
mean in the whole grand scheme of things? Celestia said a lot of stuff.
It means Santa couldn't have traveled to the roof by foot, and
Right.
subsequently, nobody, was not without flying, could have traveled to the roof at all.
Magic?
Commendable, a valiant effort.
Teleport?
That disproved the whole science
There are no unicorns in this
thing,
book?
though.
Falling in the roof would not matter, yes. I do like the theory, however. His falling from a great height would match up with his head wounds. They would also
Why
create
are you
a
smiling?
huge
You say
parallel
that.
with this doll, if it also fell and cracked its head.
Wait, you brought that thing with you?
I do, and something yet undiscovered about it bothers me. It makes an interesting rattling sound when you shake it like... Oh.
Oh?
Good news, friends and friendettes. I
Oh,
found
hey.
the key to the science lab. It was hidden within the cracked
He was
head of this
in the doll? Okay.
And it has
I guess
blood
that-
on it.
That's a decent place to hide it.
It It appears the final key to this case has been discovered. With this new
Literally,
information, we
key.
have the ability to bring light to the true culprit. Why would the key be hidden in such a fashion?
To make sure we don't find it?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And why would the culprit not want this key to be found?
Because it would reveal who they were.
What an interesting turn of events.
Correct again. Finally, how would this key reveal who the killer was? I will answer this one for you. An
Okay.
aspiring toy maker is the creator of this doll, and they developed all its hidden intricacies, including a hidden compartment.
What?
Of
But-
course, you may surmise this toy maker is crass.
This is complete red-hot bullhorn.
What?
I didn't put any hidden compartments in there. They're hollow by design.
Santo's the toy maker, though. But,
Of course, you would
okay.
not dare reveal how to expose such a compartment under scrutiny of death. But of course, there is no other explanation for why the key is inside this doll.
Yes, but why would he put it in there in the first place?
May I bring your attention to the blood on the key? How do you believe the blood got on the key? I will answer this question with a question. How do Pegasi hold objects?
With their
Under
wings.
their wing. And under Crass's wing is a wound. Crass is therefore the possessor of this key, and therefore the culprit.
I
We're
can't
going
believe
back to
this.
Crass
I don't
again.
believe this.
But wait, that could just as easily be Santa's blood.
Might I remind you that only just during this trial did we discover that blood testing was not an option. Poor feeble little Crass, he was acting without knowing if his blood could be distinguished from Santa's. Trying so hard to cover up for his crime, and yet here it is in full display.
That's not true. None of this is true.
My gosh, I'm so invested in this. Like, Viva has done a really good job here with, like trying to stay true to the Danganronpa series. Like, I'm really happy with how this is
This doll
going.
is indispensable towards locating the culprit. This doll's cracked head formed conveniently upon impact with Santa's own head. Without it, we wouldn't have found the key stashed inside it.
And the key proves Crass is the killer?
Precisely. Crass is the owner of this doll. He used a secret compartment in the doll to stash away the key. As the creator of this doll's mechanisms, and the only one who knows how it functions, Crass is the only one who can insert any items into it.
Lies. All lies.
I feel like that part's gonna be contradicted. But let's be slipping up. Use her own argument against her for this one. Oh, are we finally actually gonna be doing that? We're gonna be copying one of her things and shooting at another, or are we just gonna use one of her presets again?
Conveniently upon impact with Santa's own
Yes,
head.
we're finally using this. All right, cool.
We wouldn't have found the key stashed inside it.
And the key proves Crass is the killer?
Well, yeah.
Precisely. Crass is the owner of this doll. He used a secret compartment in the doll to stash away the key.
And yes, I have been noticing that
As
sign
the
there. It
creator
looks
of this doll's
silly.
mechanisms, and the only one who knows how it functions.
Get ready.
Crass is the
Fire!
No, that's wrong.
You sound very confident in your words, but under those words is a very
Oh, I've always loved
flimsy
this music, by
argument.
the way.
How dare you?
I kind of don't want to make her angry. Can we not make her angry? Celestia, according to your very own argument, the key was inserted into the doll by the only one who was able to open the toy, Crass. But simply retelling the correct order of events completely disproves that theory.
Yeah, because if it's
Doll's
broken
head was
and then the
cracked
key got
first.
added,
And
anyone
cracked
can do
like
it.
that, literally anybody can insert the key into that doll after setting up that scene. Ah, it appears we're finally getting somewhere.
Yay!
It better be. This is getting really confusing.
Like every
In
game.
fact, while the atmosphere is set like this, I think it's time to clear up a few misconceptions. Misconceptions?
You mean you can prove me innocent?
Now, Crass, I didn't say that much. As
Dang.
productive as it might be that Celestia has given us new possibilities towards who the murderer is, I think a lot of what she has stated is rather flawed in logic.
I shall be the judge of that.
Are you getting flustered? You shouldn't be if you truly are innocent.
Huh? It's like Baka. His Pumpkin on my side now? What's with this change of heart? Did he figure something out?
First, let's clear up the method of murder. How exactly was Santa killed? He was hit by the doll, right?
But a fatal hit from that doll would cause far more damage to the doll than we currently see.
I thought
Right,
he fell
that's
off
what
the
we
roof.
said.
We disproved him falling off the roof already.
Well, Reverie, you seem to be good at figuring this kind of thing out. How did Santa die? It shouldn't be too hard. It's basically process of elimination. I got it! Well, if the doll can't be the murder weapon by itself and no other murder weapon of the type was found anywhere else, then his death must have been caused by falling from a great height. Precisely. Next, how could he have fallen from a great height?
We'll play a game of 20 questions.
I got it!
Hold up?
Well, the second floor would hurt, but it wouldn't cause death. And we know the roof is off limits, thanks to Waterhorse from earlier.
Your gratitude does not fall on deaf ears.
So, if he must have gotten killed by falling a great height, he must have been pulled up? Correct again. The only ones who have the ability to ascend to a height
Okay,
like that
yeah.
without roof access are winged. Likewise, I think we can all agree that the only ones who could kill Santa at this point are those who are alone and have wings.
I was not alone. I was in the cafeteria.
Shut up, Celestia. This brings our suspects down
Lol.
to two, Celestia and Crass.
Man, poor
I
Crass.
can't catch a break here.
Now that we have that cleared up,
I know, right?
let's clear up the circumstances surrounding the key and the doll. First, why is the doll damaged? I got it!
Just use the bait Santa Claus. Yeah.
I'm still standing with my original assertion. It was used to bait Santa. It most certainly isn't irrelevant considering its placement in the science lab and involvement with the key. But it sure wasn't used to hit Santa because there would be no point. Once he's lifted up in the air, he sure ain't gonna need to get hit by the doll. He's basically already dead.
I don't know about that. If you were being flown in the air, I would think it'd be pretty easy to wiggle out. Unless you were unconscious from the swing from that doll.
Not entirely. If Santa were fixated on that doll, the winged horse could easily sneak up on him. In flight, we don't make that much noise, and once he's been grabbed from the back, there's nothing he could do about it.
So it has come down to this. You believe that is how I murdered Santa Claus?
Oh, Celestia, if it weren't for this, I wouldn't be suspecting you right now. Of all the reasons you came up with to get you off the hook, I'm curious as to why you not being able to lift Santa through the window was not one of them. Perhaps because
Ooh,
you
that's a good
could
point.
lift Santa. You are rather durable.
She's made for children after all.
Therefore, I don't see it as an impossibility that this murder method is a viable option. Next, let's talk
Much
about
baka.
the key and why it was placed in the doll. That was so the killer could hide the key, right? No, that's not the only possible explanation.
That doll is not designed for storage.
But nonetheless, it was used for storage. Riddle me this. If you have no pockets, where is the best place to store a small key?
Well, none of these ponies have
Anywhere,
pockets
really,
if they don't have
lose
clothes
the
on.
thing. Exactly. Now I call it a safe assumption to say that Santa was the last possessor of this key. At least before he was killed and the key transferred ownership to the murderer. Are you about to accuse Celestia because she has no pockets?
That is an unreasonable accusation.
No, because although Crass has his vest thing, he has no pockets either. Anyway,
Vest
if the killer
thing.
wanted to store away this small key and had no other storage space, sounds like it'd be rather convenient to use this doll now, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess.
That is misuse of product.
Now,
He's
there's
so
finally
mad!
one last thing I'd like to come back to. Why the door was locked in the first place. Why the door was locked? We never solved this, and it will provide us with a rather important clue. Let's ask the obvious question first. Why lock the door? To hide the body, obviously. Of course. Now this is where it gets interesting. Why
Okay.
hide the body? But that's also obvious, so that we don't find it. Yes, the door was locked to hide the body. The body was hidden so that we couldn't find it. But we did find the body. The body wasn't supposed to be found. Now think, what exactly does that mean?
Santa was never killed?
I got
Oh,
it!
this can't be it.
It means
There would be
crime
no
scene
case
was
then.
likely intended to have more work put into it. We discovered it by complete chance, meaning we probably saw things we weren't supposed to see. Correct again.
They were in the middle
I
of
believe
getting
that's
everything
exactly
fixed.
what happened. The doll at the crime scene was an anomaly. The blood outside was an anomaly. If the killer wanted to frame someone, they did a rather poor job. So, how does that make you feel, Princess Celestia?
Triggered.
Foolish. How foolish and immature. You seem to have a baseless vendetta on me, as everything in your accusation also applies to Crass.
She's got a point.
Yeah, nothing here is actually specific towards Celestia herself.
Are you kidding? Even after a super evil voice reveal thing, you still trust her?
None of your evidence is conclusively exclusive. Who are you going to believe? A princess or a scruffy chimney sweep?
Why, you little... This is all completely absurd! How do we even get to this point? How is Santa even dead? Santa was a martyr! He would always talk about wishing for the good of all, even in his demise. I respect him and all the sacrifices he has made. Santa was a very intelligent man, a caring man, a very humble man, and most of all, a very honorable man. There's a lot you can learn about a person from a hand-to-hand fight. A respectful close quarters duel between two fighters of similar skill. Even when one falls, they bow in respect. Because in a respectful duel, it's never about winning. Santa was that kind of man.
So crazy that
He
they
was a
used real
friend, and I
swords
look
during
up to
this
all he
spar.
has done for all of us. I lost in that duel with him.
So
That
risky.
drives me to become stronger. I will work, and one day I will make it up to him.
Cute. But your false sentiments mean nothing now. You're grasping at straws if you think you can sway opinions with that performance.
There's a lot you can learn about a person from a hand-to-hand fight. A respectful close quarters duel between two fighters of similar skill. Even when one falls, they bow in respect. Because in a respectful duel, it's never about winning. Santa was that kind of man. He was a friend, and I look up to all he has done for all
Getting
of
down
us.
to the wire
I
in this
lost in that
case.
duel with him, and that drives me to become stronger. I will work, and one day I will make it up to him.
Cute. But your false sentiments mean nothing now. You're grasping at straws if you think you can sway opinions with that performance.
Okay. Broken doll, missing key, blood splatter, science room meeting, and what a horse account.
None of your accusations directly apply to me.
You dropped that doll outside the window.
So could Crass.
You placed the key in that doll.
So could Crass.
You grabbed Santa from the back and dropped him.
So could Crass.
But you're still not denying that you could do it. But
You
yeah.
honestly believe I'm that dim-witted?
All of this seems rather fishy. There's something here he wouldn't need to do.
Oh. Something that he would not need to do.
None of your accusations
Okay.
directly apply to me.
You dropped that doll outside the window.
So could Crass.
You placed the key in that doll.
So could Crass.
You grabbed Santa from the back and dropped him.
So could Crass.
You left the crime scene alone early.
You honestly believe I'm that dim-witted?
All of this seems rather fishy. There's something here he wouldn't need to do.
But he wouldn't need to do it. Yeah, we're gonna reuse that. That makes sense.
None of your accusations
It would probably be the one where he left
directly
early,
apply
right?
to me.
You dropped that doll outside the window.
Like, because he could leave early or late and it wouldn't have mattered.
You placed the key in that doll.
So could Crass.
You grabbed Santa from the back and dropped him.
So could...
Oh no, we're gonna do this one. Okay.
No, that's wrong. This whole time you were hoping we wouldn't notice. You have a way with your words, and you're very much a quick thinker. But you knew from the start we had the ability to find you out. You're correct about one thing. Everything you did, Crass could have done too. However, Crass had no need to do any of that. You are small, far smaller than the rest of us. You told us yourself that you have no reliable way to wield a weapon, but Crass does.
Yep.
All around the
As
school
evident by
was a
the sword.
multitude of different possible weapons. Heck, Crass could have even built his own. So why would he choose flying Santa up as his method of murder?
To frame me.
Oh, come on!
Oh, Celestia, you of all people should know that's an impossibility. As up until this very trial, Crass didn't know you could lift Santa up at all. The only one who would choose this method of murder. Princess Celestia, you killed Santa Claus!
How dare you kill Santa Claus! Here comes the breakdown.
What now?
Feeble! You're so feeble! After so much deliberation and false accusations, you completely forgot. I had no way of knowing Santa would be alone in that room.
What? That's not true. I know that's not true.
You said yourself that Santa, Scott, John, and Jake were the only ones who knew that meeting was occurring in that room. How could I kill Santa if I didn't even know where he was?
Celestia,
You weren't maybe aiming for Santa? Corroboration with his
there's
testimony.
one person in this room who can prove your guilt once and for all.
An impossible feat. Don't bother lying to my face.
Choose someone. Oh, yes. Mamogma.
The only one.
You're gonna say something finally.
When was the last time we saw Santa alive?
I saw him at breakfast at 10 a.m. We all saw him at 10, you doof.
I saw him enter the science lab at 11:15, and the Magma was with me.
Mamogma, of course, was stupidly
Oh,
silent.
and I guess Celestia was with us too.
There you
Crass
go.
has already stated that there's no way Celestia wouldn't know Santa was in that room. However, Celestia, of course, passed that off as Crass telling tall tales. But we have someone else who also saw Santa enter that room with them. Mamogma.
Oh, but you need to say something.
Confirmation. Was Celestia with you when you saw Santa enter the science lab? And that settles it.
All he has to do is just
I
nod.
refuse to accept this. Your testimony is inadmissible. My
There we
word
go.
is final. I am Princess Celestia. I am Princess Celestia. Oh, my hair looks beautiful. My barrettes look so pretty. You're my best friend. You're my best
anymore.
friend. You're my best friend.
If there's ever a kid out there who has one of these Princess Celestia dolls, you might have a harder time being able to look at it the same
Here's
way.
everything that happened in this case.
Sweet! The case overview. Let's do it.
Everything began with a fortuitous moment. At 11:15, the killer, along with Crass and the Mamogma, spotted Santa entering an isolated room, the science lab on the second floor of this building. Knowing Santa was alone, the killer then immediately went to action, setting up their murder plan. First,
Hey, did they
stealing a
ever
toy
say
from
what Santa was
Crass
going in the
so
room
they could
for?
later be framed for the crime. Next, the killer went outside and flew up with this toy, dropping it outside Santa's window. This alerted Santa, the sound being loud enough in the window
broke my
being
toy?
quickly opened. Truth be told, Santa was in this room for a meeting,
Well, it's not really his
one set up for 12 p.m. But through curiosity and 45 minutes of free time, he went outside to check out on it anyway.
Okay, so, yeah.
Santa's movement would be predictable with nobody around, and his eyes set on the prize, so the killer merely had to hide around a corner and make their strike with his back turned. He was lifted up into the air.
Yo, bro, do you
So
even
he was
lift?
grabbed, he was basically already dead. This could only be done by
Ow.
flight, meaning the killer had to have wings. one fatal drop later, it was up to the killer to cover up their crime. Of course, being spotted right now would be devastating, so they needed to be quick. Sometime during this rush, the key to the science lab, that of which was in Santa's possession, was doused in his blood. It was also placed in the now container-like broken doll, likely for travel purposes. A small key like that could be easily lost otherwise, especially if you have no pockets.
Yeah, very few of them actually have pockets at all.
When these were rushed to the science lab, the body and the doll weren't touched again. This is because the killer, who then locked up the room from the inside, believed nobody would stumble upon the body, at least not for the next few hours. The body was in an obscure locked room after all. Therefore, no cover-up job was made to frame a false murderer. The killer then blended themselves into the cafeteria. Nobody noticed them entering. They were now going to spend the next few
Which
hours
is creepy that they were able to
framing how they were
rejoin
going
without
to frame
anyone
Kratz,
noticing that they had
their
left in the first
intended
place.
target. Then 11:55 rolled around. The meeting was about to start in the science lab, and Scott was about to attend. Of course, the door was locked, and Scott likewise thought maybe the meeting was called off. But not 5 minutes later, John and Jake showed up, and if Jake wasn't the one to touch the lock, the body would never have been found, as his strength accidentally broke the lock.
That's still kind of humorous. It's like, oh crap, I broke it.
He and John discovered the body, calling the rest of us over. By this time, any plan to frame Kratz was over. You might be wondering why a murder was played out in such an odd way. Why the murderer had to send Santa outside to execute his plan. This is because they were small, far smaller than the rest of us. And this was the only murder method they had open. Isn't that
It
right,
was you!
Princess Celestia?
Dun dun dun!
Very well. I concede I was the culprit.
Wow.
What an interesting turn of events.
Is that so? Well, I'm curious. Why do it?
Santa delivers many a toy to children.
But no one
I
wants
see them
me!
come. I see them go. It's always about delivering all those toys. But he refused to deliver me.
I knew it!
What? He did tell me why, but I refused to accept his answer. He told me I was a misrepresentation. That the children deserved better.
Well,
do.
he's not wrong. You're not
Well.
very accurate.
Yeah, I mean, those wings.
Those colors.
The elf.
Eyes. That
Yup.
posture.
And
Yup.
especially those quotes. Princess Celestia would never say those kinds of things.
It's almost like whoever designed you knew nothing about the original character.
Exactly!
That's just the kind of man he was. It's called creative integrity. That's something Santa had in spades. Even to his final day, he refused to let his friends down. I respect him. I respect him and everything he's done to all the children around the world. And I declare, here and now, that I will follow
Unfortunately,
in
Christmas
his
isn't
footsteps.
going to be coming around
I
anymore.
will do what I can to make it up to him.
Unless you're going to be
On
the
the
next
next 25th
Santa
of
Claus.
December, all around the world, it will be a happy Christmas.
Alright,
Christmas.
that's enough of that. Now then, have you all decided on who you think the
Well, it's
killer
called Christmas
is?
and not Santa.
That we have.
Good, and congratulations, you're all correct. And you know what that means?
Goodbye, Celestia!
It means it's time for your execution. Very well. I
Are you gonna eat
competed
him?
in this battle, and I lost.
Yeet!
I accept whatever it is you have for me. Righto. Now then,
Righto.
Princess Celestia, for you I have prepared a very special punishment. It's time to
Yes,
have some fun.
punishment
I bid
time!
you adieu.
Are we actually going to see it, though? Oh, we are. Oh gosh. What is even gonna happen here? Is that a nuke? Shoot me like a rocket into space. Whoa, whoa. Even the rocket's got wings. Like proper wings. Oh, that's gonna land on the... Oh, no. Oh. And thus, Fallout Equestria begun. Holy crap. And that was Trigger Happy Horses. That was actually really cool. Long video that I'm having to do, but that's obviously going to be paling in comparison to how much time and effort went into making this. Also, buy my plush. Never find out what that meeting was about. Maybe the meeting was about how to get out of there. Who knows? I mean, that's basically what it was in the actual Danganronpa games. Most of the time, your guys' meetings were about trying to escape the school. Interesting. Wow. Wow! That was a lot to take in. Okay. So... It felt a little weird because one of the ponies there was a complete mute, so they were basically, like, just there. Blame was never really shifted to them at, like, any point. And all he really did was just nod and then shrug at one point. And that was more or less about it. So it was just kind of interesting having him there. But his being there with some of the others when the door... or when the crime scene was discovered and everything, was still important. So, you know, at least he was still able to play his role with that. But most of the others there, their methodology of how they, like, argue or just, like, accuse randoms and stuff like that actually does make sense, given, like, how the games actually do it. Like, it stayed true to the game really well. I said that a couple times during this reaction, but it really did. And I'm actually impressed by that. Like, it made its own story and everything like that, you know, was really goofy. Now that we're at the end of it, we figured out, like, the whole reasoning for it and all that jazz. Like, it's silly. But it was a whole unique story that stayed to the true concept and how the actual game worked. And it was actually really cool. There were some small bits there that weren't actually used. That was in the game. Like, there's one where, like, you have to, like, match up the letters in order to spell out, you know, a key word that you use in order to use as your argument. That wasn't into this, but to be fair, if they did something like that, I feel like that would probably break the immersion a little bit more. So they kind of left that part out, which is fine. That's actually really fine. I'm glad that they used the bit to where they actually, like, you know, copy the argument that one of them used and then use it against another one of their comments. That's better. I like doing that one too, rather than just using the straight up truth bullet. So that one was actually cool. Seeing that was actually being used in here and not just completely forgotten. But poor Crass though, like, my gosh, he got blamed so many times during this. Like, I was genuinely starting to feel bad. I'm like, look, I really hope he's innocent because he's been blamed so much and I'm feeling bad for him. Oh gosh. This was actually really cool. I actually really enjoyed this. It's crazy that this came out back in, like, early 2017. So, like, literally, this has been out for over 2 years. Man, I got to this late. But all in all, I absolutely enjoyed this. Wow. Just wow. If you guys haven't played the Danganronpa games, go play them. If you're okay with this whole, like, murder investigation style. It's not for kids, okay? It is not for kids. No. No, 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 no. I refuse to approve this game for a kid. Because some of the stuff that actually takes place in there, yeah, it can be violent like what happened in here, but there is some more really deep stuff that happens in those games that makes your brain think, and it is a mind trip when you're actually experiencing some of the stuff that actually happens in those games. Specifically 1 and 2. Number 3, it's less enjoyable in my opinion, but you know, some may agree, some may disagree. But I personally find number 1 and 2 to be a lot better than number 3. That said, I still recommend that anybody who can handle that kind of stuff, go check them out. I've got a few friends who've actually played the games before, and they've actually really enjoyed them. And I've already told you guys I played the crap out of them. And so, if you guys can handle it, go check them out. They're really interesting, really good story and everything. The only thing that sucks is that if you're like me, I can't, like I said in this, like I wanted to play those games again, but I have a problem where like games like Danganronpa or the Ace Attorney games like Phoenix Wright and everything, I can play the game once and then come back to it like a year or two later, and I will still remember various key details about the case, so I won't be able to get the same experience like I did before. Like when the case starts and stuff like that, I'll most likely remember who it was that actually did the crime ultimately, and it kind of ruins the experience. So yeah, it might not have the most replayability, but it's still worth a good look. That's my opinion. But all in all, I enjoyed this a lot, and if you guys are still here and you stuck around through this entire thing all in one go, good on you. But I think that's going to finally be it, so I thank y'all for watching, and until next time, this is Pretty Much 44 saying, you guys, later.